Welcome to On Record PR, where we discuss the latest news, insights, and strategies that matter most to law firm leaders. I'm a host, Jennifer Simpson Carr, and today I am joined by Deb Ruffins, a member of our international faculty. Hi, Deb.
Hi, Jennifer. So excited to be here.
Thank you for joining me. I'm very excited for this and our next conversation. So, we are recording this episode to release on Monday, October 6th, and today we're discussing, just a really small topic, the billable hour.
Teeny, teeny.
But before we jump into that, I do want to encourage our listeners to check out our show notes and learn more about you and your incredible professional background, which, for those who know Deb, spans over 35 years as an executive, including serving as a big law CMO.
Yep.
So I want to invite people to read more about you. And also, I want to say congratulations because you just had a fantastic article published in Bloomberg Law.
Yes, I did. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see that drop.
So I'm going to put a link in the show notes for anyone that wants to check that article out. So it's human-centered leadership is a differentiator in the AI age. I botched that. But what I thought was really cool is you shared it on LinkedIn and someone actually commented that there was a mic drop moment in your article. And I thought that was super cool because obviously it impacted them in a way that they felt like, you had a lot of great insight to share. So
I appreciate all of the positive feedback and comments I'm getting, texts and emails and messages from people who are seeing it who are really, happy for me. So yeah, it's a great article and it's a really timely topic, and we'll probably touch on some of that today.
yeah, definitely. And maybe we can even have you back to talk about it as its own episode. So,
Sure.
so Deb, as long as I've been in the legal industry, the primary measurement for success for attorneys, for law firms, has been the billable hour. Um, Over time, maybe there's been some outliers in terms of lawyers or industry groups that leaned in more heavily to alternative fee arrangements, AFAs, and measurements of success that aligned with those, but that's generally been rare for me anyway. Um, in the in the past, let's say the last 3 to 5 years, the story started to shift in some really important ways. So I want to talk to you about that today. And I first want to ask you, does that time frame sound right to you? 3 to 5 years?
It sounds right in certain ways. I mean, you could definitely see evidence that the pricing conversation is changing the way law firms price
Hmm.
business. But I would also use a longer time frame because this has
Okay.
been bubbling up for at least 15 years.
Okay. All right. And so many law firms generally still see revenue growth through the lens of the billable
100%.
hour and immediate demand creation. What's
Yes.
missing from that approach, and why is it risky for law firms in today's market?
Well, I think there's three key points to keep in mind here. It creates a transactional mindset. Firms are chasing matters, they're not building enduring relationships. And then, unlike every other industry out there, there's a lack of structure around revenue generation. So there's no disciplined pipeline and opportunity management. There's no systematic approach to tracking and growing opportunities, let alone relationships and the missed investment there. Firms always, often, not always, neglect long-term client cultivation in favor of short-term wins. And so this creates like feast and famine cycles. You've always heard the stories, lawyers get really busy and then all of a sudden the work dries up and they have no business to fall back on. So feast or famine. Unfortunately, it reinforces the commoditization of legal work and competing only on hours and price and not differentiating on value. And it leaves firms super vulnerable to disruption, especially as AI automates routine legal tasks, right? So we talked about that a little bit in the article. And I think the differentiator will be human centered lawyering, like empathy, listening, trust, relationship building. The lawyers who center relationships will thrive as AI handles the transactional work.
Mm. So it sounds like we may agree that a majority of law firms still don't recognize the downside of staying locked into this billable hour model. Maybe that combined with resistance to change, is that what what you feel might be holding firms back?
I think they recognize the pressure. I mean, having been inside big law firms for many years, I know they feel the pressure. And I think many of them are grappling with what to do about it. That's why they are exploring different types of business development programs like industry go to market or client teams to reinforce more collaborative behaviors to grow revenue. But I also think there is a bit of resistance because, sales is still a four-letter word. And discipline around tracking, like use of CRM systems, they're still just used as contact systems and mailing systems. They're not used for the full power capability that they have.
And the collaboration you mentioned, I know we'll dive into in the next episode, and I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on that because I know that that's a big piece of it.
It sure is. Yep.
So, can you tell me a little bit more about what you're hearing in the ways that corporate clients are signaling that they want something different from law firm relationships?
Oh, yeah. Clients have been sending this message loudly and clearly for at least 15 years. It's in every client feedback, every industry survey, and even public thought leadership by other general counsels. You see a number of business signals also, right? So more insourcing of work, right? The reducing the reliance on outside counsel and building in-house teams, turning to technology and alternative legal service providers. Those are moving up the value chain. Excuse me. They're also drafting increasingly detailed and complex outside counsel guidelines that really
Mhm.
try to pinpoint every single expectation, which is a strong signal of not getting value. And then the last thing is they put matters out to competitive bids rather than awarding based on loyalty.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting to me that we hear from attendees of GC panels all the time. Well, they always say the same thing, right? Oh, all GC panels are the same. I don't feel that way. I know that sometimes there's similarities, but to your point, something that has been consistent in all the years I've attended is exactly what you've said, which is that they are signaling that they want something different. So I just wanted to circle back to that because if that's true and people feel like they're hearing the same thing, that message then needs to be resonating and absorbed at law firms.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that we hear over and over again is the importance of lawyers shifting from being service providers to trusted advisors. I know people feel like that's overused, so let's say maybe trusted business partners. What are some tangible skills that attorneys can build to make that transition?
It's the same skills they've honed as lawyers, but through a different lens. Think about it, listening. So, with an intent to uncover business context instead of just legal issues, asking better questions, not the kind of discovery questions necessarily, although those are important in both legal and business development environments, but the curiosity, the open strategic questions, the value questions, not just fact finding, respectfully challenging. So, if you want to co develop solutions rather than deliver one sided advice, then push your clients a little bit to think a little differently. And I think that lens shift is really important from the I'm your lawyer to I'm your counselor, advisor, partner, in the true meaning of the word partner. And from I solve problems to I help you achieve meaningful outcomes. Let's go on this journey together. I think that practically lawyers need to spend more time on reflection and preparation of think deeply before they have these first conversations about what to say and how to say it so they can engage from a different lens, and then be open to dialogue, maintain ongoing open dialogue, maintain continuous other centered conversations focused on client success, both professionally and personally. That'll have an incredible impact on building trust beyond the matters and staying engaged between matters. And it ultimately positions lawyers as indispensable partners, not interchangeable service providers, which selling on hours, quantity.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too to me because we've had some incredible GCs on our podcast. Alex Lima at Westco, Bill Heller from the New York Giants. And one of the biggest transitions, that resonated with me or that kind of I took away from those conversations is their transition from private practice to in-house counsel, and that they, as the in-house counsel, had to shift that mindset or
Yes,
that
they
lens
did.
of
Yes, they did.
providing legal guidance to having a business focused mindset. So it really does help especially attorneys in transition,
Yep.
make an even bigger impact at their
Yep.
companies.
I mean, I'm so glad you said that because one of the in-house counsel I follow is my friend Eric Greenberg Dotson at Cox Media now. He writes a lot on AI, and he also just had an article published in Bloomberg Law. And he talks about all of these things, but it really highlights the fact that clients are not loyal by default. They expect efficiency and innovation and value, and they will move their work if they don't see it. Like so, law firm lawyer words and actions need to align, right? They're the buyers are pushing a structural shift in how they buy legal services, so you have to adapt.
So let's take a break here for a message from our sponsor. And when we get back, I'd love to get a piece of advice from you that law firm leaders can take away from this conversation.
Sure thing.
This episode is brought to you by Furia Rubel Communications, a public relations and marketing agency serving law firms and businesses worldwide. With an expert team positioned throughout the U.S. and supported by an international faculty, Furia Rubel enhances our clients' brands through integrated communications by providing expert guidance in crisis management and high-profile litigation, protecting brand and reputation, and supporting internal marketing teams. To learn more, visit furiarubel.com.
So, Deb, we're back from our sponsor message. And if you could give one piece of advice to law firm leaders who are tuning in today, who know they need to start moving in this direction, but really aren't sure where to begin, what would that one piece of advice be?
Listen to the clients. That's a big statement, but like I said, clients are signaling loud and clear. So be brave and take the first steps to do what they are asking. It might require a fundamental rethinking and approach to the structure of law firms and service delivery. But the firms that figure it out first, who are truly responsive to delivering the value that clients expect in the way they expect through collaboration, through technology, through teams, will differentiate themselves in this increasingly competitive market.
That's great advice. Starting with listening, listening and acting.
Mhm. Yep.
So, I want to thank you for joining me today. I think for me, what really stands out is that the billable hour isn't going away, but it's no longer enough. Clients want more, they're communicating that, and law firms who take that step to listen and act will be ahead, will differentiate themselves. So we'll stop here and we'll continue part two of this conversation where we'll talk about how firms can operationalize these ideas, everything from leadership to collaboration, maybe what success looks like. And to our listeners, be sure to tune in next week. In the meantime, we appreciate you joining us today. Please subscribe to the show, share it with your friends and colleagues, and continue to send your great ideas to us at podcast@onrecordpr.com. Thank you again, Deb.
Thanks for having me.
On Record PR is produced by Jennifer Simpson Carr and Matt Henderson, with support from the team at Furia Rubel Communications. This episode is edited by Isabel Horan and Christian Yamula. Visit www.onrecordpr.com for resources and more information.